Welcome back my mathematics students. Today we will be learning graphing tangent function. You can check my previous videos for rest of the four functions: sine, cosine, cosecant and secant, and you will learn all the tricks that I used those there, so that the transformation becomes very easy and it's very easy to write the equation from the graph. Next video I'll make make videos on how to write the equation from the graphs, so you can subscribe, like, so that you can be updated with my upcoming videos. Okay, so I will show you how to use the table, but going forward, if you are a smart kid, if you want to be a smart kid, actually you should not use the table at all. You should be doing the graph just by yourself, all kind of transformation. But since this is the first graph, we will use the table. I will show you the table, but I will teach you how to draw the graph without the table. So this is the we are doing the parent tangent graph. We know that what is tangent? Tangent is equal to sine ratio over cos ratio, right? So here is a thing that when we will do the tan graph or any kind of trigonometric graph, if you see my previous video, I always go by all those five benchmark points, which is 0, pi by 2, 3 pi by 2, sorry, pi, 3 pi by 2 and 2 pi. These are my benchmark points that I take in all the things. Now I'm doing the xy table, though we do not need it because we are doing it for the first time. So I'm showing the xy table. Going forward, for any transformation, we should not need it. Your teacher wanted, you can draw the table, but you should be smart enough for drawing the graph without the table. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to take 0 and pi by 2, pi, 3 pi by 2 and actually 2 pi. I'll come back to this point. 0. Before I go to the other point, here is the thing. Whatever will make the cos as 0, whatever make your cos is 0, so anything divided by 0 is undefined, right? So in that case, it is undefined, means it will give rise to vertical asymptote. So what makes cos 0? If you see your unit circle, in your unit circle, cos is 0 at pi by 2 and cos is 0 at 3 pi by 2. By this time, you guys must be good with this, right? Cos is 0 at pi by 2 and 3 pi by 2. So if cos is 0 at pi by 2 and 3 pi by 2, we will get an undefined answer. So at pi by 2 and 3 pi by 2, it is an undefined answer, which will give you vertical asymptote. 3 pi by 2 undefined vertical asymptote. Why? Again, because anything divided by 0 is undefined. Okay, now so we understood that at pi by 4, pi by 2 and 3 pi by 2, we will have an asymptote. Okay, now the point here, pi by 4, before I go to pi by 4, 0. Sine 0 is 0, cos 0 is 1. And 0 divided by any number is 0. Where is sine 0 is 0 again? Sine 0 is 0 at 0, pi and 2 pi. So this is 0, 0, and when you go to 2 pi, if I hope my this is visible, 0. Okay, between 0 and 2 pi by 2, there is pi by 4. Sine pi by 4 and cos pi by 4 both has the same answer, which is pi by 1 by root 2, right? Sine pi by 4 is 1 by root 2 and cos pi by 4 is 1 by root 2, which will give you 1. So that means pi by 4 is 1, 1. 3 pi by 4 is negative 1. 3 pi by 4 is negative 1. Again, 5 pi by 4 is 1. 7 pi by 4 is negative 1. So this point is 1, negative 1. So your graph is like this. Actually, I should have done that negative 1 properly. Here. So your graph will look like this. The tangent graph will look like this. Now, the problem is, if I go beyond this, this portion is same as this portion, means my graph is started repeating, the cycle started repeating. So that's why I can see my graph has a period of 0 to pi. That means the period is pi. So I understand here period for tan graph is just pi. Unlike those four trig ratios, sine, cosine, cosecant and secant, they are all 2 pi. But for tangent it is pi. Okay, And yes, you can continue this graph like this, but you have to remember your period is pi. Your teacher normally, instead of doing it from the origin, they started from negative pi by 2 and they put a asymptote there and they made the whole graph, which is perfectly fine. If you see the whole graph on the left side, it's a reflection over the origin. That means this is a tangent graph, is an odd graph. That is another thing. Next, if you have to see the domain is everything other than the asymptote. So before we write the asymptote, before we write the domain, we write the asymptote. What is the asymptote? X is equal to, where is the first asymptote? At pi by 2. And after the first asymptote, every asymptote will be after pi. That means pi is the period. So asymptote is repeat after each period. So pi k. Remember this what I said, because in transformation when you find the asymptote, first asymptote plus period k, you have to do that for tan function. Okay, this goes for tan and tangent function and cotangent function. I keep on saying tangent function and cotangent function, it will be the same thing. Okay, next is, what will be the domain that way? Domain will be all real number except the asymptote. That means x cannot be pi by 2 plus pi k. Okay, and what is range? If you see, it is all over, so range is all real number. And did I miss anything? Okay, you can hold the video, you can take the notes and try to redraw it again and again so that you get used to it. I'm erasing and come back to the video to learn some tips and tricks so that you can draw the transformation. So what did we learn from the tan function? We just need 3 points. If you remember, your tan function was, this is the asymptote and the graph is this, right? So basically you need this 3 function for the tan function. So what did I say? Again, for tan function you just need first point, second point and third point, just 3 points, and that will be the period of the tan function. Middle point will be the asymptote and the graph will be this. Just remember this. Then you can extend the graph like this and extend the graph like this, but you just need to know the red portion of the graph that I have explained. And but you will say that, oh no, my teacher want more asymptotes. So how will you get the asymptote? Whatever asymptote you got here, keep adding the period or subtracting the period. If you add period, you will get one asymptote here. If you subtract period, you will get one asymptote here. How will that work? Let us take an example. So I will take an easy example for transformation. Y is equal to tan of 2x minus pi over 4. So by this time, if you guys are good with the transformation and if you are a smart kid, you can say what is happening here. This is a horizontal compression by 1/2. Period of tan function is pi. So horizontal compression means it will be pi by 2. If you get this answer, you can consider yourself as one of the smartest kid. Okay, but that's okay. I'm not one of those smartest kid. I like to do by the formula. So what is the formula? Period is equal to pi over b. Why I'm taking pi here? Because we are doing tangent function whose parent function period is pi. And what is b here? This 2 is b here. Okay, so b is 2. So if I do pi over 2, so you got period as pi over 2, you can always use the formula. Okay, now I know what is my period and I can see my function. Ignore all the stuff. Okay, I can see my function is moving right by pi by 4. So that means my function's first point will be pi by 4. What will be, remember I said we need 3 points. What will be the third point? How to get the third point? Add period on this. If I add period, which is pi by 2, make the denominator same. So it will be 2 pi plus 1 pi, 3 pi by 4. So my third point will be 3 pi by 4. 3 pi over 4. And find the middle point. How to get the middle point? How to get the middle point? Add those two, divide by 2. 3 pi plus pi, 4 pi by 4, which is pi divided by 2, pi over 2. And what is the trick? The middle point is the asymptote. And your graph will be this and your graph will be this. That's it, you got it. See this transformation in one class, you got it. But your teacher want this point. What is that point? Add this 2 and divide by 2. Pi by 4 plus pi by 2 divided by 2. So this will be 3 pi by 4 divided by 2 will be 3 pi by 8. 3 pi by this one will be 3 pi over 8. What one will this? 4 5 pi over 8. So this will be this point which is 1. This will be this point which is -1. Done. But you say, Miss, my teacher want more asymptotes. She will not give me the full credit. That's perfectly fine. What we have to do? We have to add and subtract period from this, from the asymptote. What is my asymptote here? Pi by 2. So on pi by 2, I will add another pi by 2 because my period is pi by 2. I will get pi. So my next asymptote will be at pi. And what if I subtract pi by 2? I will get 0. So my left side asymptote will be at 0 and my right side asymptote will be at pi. And you guys are smart. You got it. See? And extend your graph. Extend your graph. See, you got a transformation in no time. No table. We did not use any table. You have all the points. You can have more asymptotes. Keep adding the period. Keep subtracting the period. You can draw the whole graph without calculator, without teacher's help. You can say that, yay, I got it. Okay, let's do one complicated question and then I'll wrap up. You can hold and do this question all by yourself. I'm giving a question. Y is equal to 2 tan 1 over 3. I'm making a real complicated question. Plus pi over 2 plus 1. Oh my god, that's looking. If you want to try, you can try it by yourself. Okay, I am doing the x-axis. I'm not drawing the y-axis. First of all, get the period. Again, if you are smart, you can get the period right here. It's a horizontal stretch by 3. That means the period of parent tan function is pi and you are multiplying by 3. So 3 pi will be the period. So period is 3 pi. Again, you can use the formula period is equal to pi over bb is 1 over 3, which is 3 pi. Okay, period is 3 pi. The graph is moving left by pi by 2. Left by pi by 2 means it is negative pi by 2. And if you add period, you will get the right point. If you add 3 pi, make the denominator same. 6 pi minus 1 pi is 5 pi by 2. So your third period point is 5 pi by 2. Erase this and get the middle point. Remember, I said you need 3 points. How to get the middle point? Add this 2 and divide by 2. 5 pi minus pi is 4 pi by 2, which will be 2 pi divided by 2 is pi. And you know your first asymptote will be here. Even if before drawing the graph, if you want to draw your other asymptote, you can do that. Your period is 3 pi, right? So keep adding 3 pi. If I add 3 pi on this, I will get 4 pi. So my next asymptote will be here. You subtract 3 pi. Your next asymptote will be at negative 2 pi. See, you got all your asymptotes. And now you know, if you remember now, this is the x-axis. You have to find the y-axis, right? No, not only y-axis. You have to go up by 1. So your midline, I'm drawing with some. Your midline will be up by 1. And where are the points? Let us first find the points. What is the midpoint of this? Pi and negative pi by 2 will be pi by 2 divided by pi by 4. So your y-axis will be somewhere here, right? Pi by 4, your y-axis will be somewhere here. And your points, now you can put all your points here. Your point is here, here, and here. So this is your midpoint, remember. So your graph will be 2. This, and if you remember this, this. And this point, since this is 1, the graph is going up by 2. So 1, 2. This point should be that 3. 1, 2, 3. This is, oh, I did it on the asymptote. I'm super sorry. I should have done it on this. I just accidentally did it on the asymptote. My markings, this is the y-axis, so my marking should be 1 here, 2, 3. My marking should be there. So that is 3. Now go down by 2, 1, 2, which will be negative 1. So this point will be here. So now you can fill up your graph. You can continue your graph like this, and that's it. You got your graph. See, it's not that bad, right? You can easily draw. If you want more asymptote, you can keep on drawing, adding the period, and you'll get more asymptote. So before I drop off, I'll give you one example. And if you guys like my video, please subscribe so that when I will upload my next videos on this, you can easily get it, right? So if I write this as 3 tan 3 x plus pi minus 1. Try to do this. Figure out the period here. It's a horizontal compression by 1/3. Period will be pi by 3. That's the clue I gave you. Now you can start doing it. Let me know if you got this answer or not. Thank you guys. And if you get any help, let me know. If you need any help, let me know. Okay. And see you in my next video. Bye and have great day.